Major Shah, that's something which you've also been emphasizing on, that yoga is not for one set of people. Unfortunately, there was a belief that yoga is a little slow, it revolves around bending and stretching. Gym is for youngsters, yoga is for someone who's middle-aged or the elderly. Today, in fact, even celebs are breaking these myths. Yoga is not just lifestyle. Yoga is actually a way of life, isn't it?
Meenakshi, and I, being practicing yoga myself, my sixth sense that Neha right now is sitting on a yoga mat. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
there you are. See, Neha. See, Meenakshi, this is what a connect is, a sixth sense. It helps you develop consciousness, and you can see things. You can foresee things as well. It helps in that. And with Neha, like first time we've met online, but already being a yogi, again I told you earlier. So yes, so your consciousness develops, and apart from the fact that yoga is only for old people, or it'll be a fashion statement also now, Meenakshi. And a yoga mat, as I said, Neha sitting on a yoga mat because it's functional for her. It is her livelihood, it's a means of life. She's a yoga instructor and with a very solid reputation. And I know people who are students who are benefiting a great deal from Neha, in fact. But also it become a style statement. A yoga mat, if you roll a yoga mat and you walk, I'm going to do yoga with my yoga mat. So it become a style statement also. And
but what's wrong? What's wrong, Major Shah? I think don't you think it's good, Neha, that it's become a style statement? Perhaps that itself will help youngsters pick it. Why not? What do you say on this, Neha?
Yes, definitely. Why not? Western countries are following us, and we are leaving our culture and moving towards all this modern stuff. So definitely, this is our root, this is our reality, this is our existence, this is our foundation. It's bang on for everyone.
Well, absolutely. And why should only perhaps, working out in the gym or going for a run be something which is, idealized, or that's something which is considered cool? Why not yoga? Why should we not take pride in something which is so ancient and so inherent to us? And would you agree, Major Shah, that by organizing events like this, it's not like, yoga started in India post 2014, or we became aware about the benefits of yoga post 2014, but it's just that the way this government has taken yoga internationally and made it so significant in front of the world, that itself really has helped all of us recognize something which always existed in our lives, in our parents and our grandparents' lives.
Absolutely, Meenakshi, and it's been being done since ages of Rishi Munis, and since I can't even say decades or generations, since God knows how long. They're always there. And people who are not yoga instructor, common person like me or you, Meenakshi, and if once they take on to yoga, they miss one day of yoga, for example, because they say there's too much of work, they're getting late for work, they would feel incomplete the entire day. They would feel something is missing. They missed out on something. Not because they have missed out on a daily routine, but because that is the magic, the power of yoga. So most certainly it is something which is, and I'm very glad that you are conducting this program, a very, very beautiful program, early in the morning, which millions of people are watching right now. And it is certainly going to do a lot of good to the world community. We talk about meditation, we talk about stress, let's meditate. Yoga, style statement, and it is something to feel proud about.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's cool also nowadays, apart from benefiting from it, physically, emotionally, mentally, something, a style statement, as you rightly said, why not? A yoga mat itself is a style statement today, Meenakshi.
Yoga mat itself is a style statement, and why not? Rightly so. When most of us very unfortunately are busy aping Western culture, it's time that we recognize really the benefits of our own. We recognize something which has existed in our life for years and generations altogether. Neha, it's not just about preserving, but also about spreading yoga. The visuals which you see, generally when we think of yoga, one thinks of Ramdev Baba. I said his name because he's on air. But today we can see ministers, Yogi Adityanath, I saw Shivraj Singh Chauhan and many other chief ministers of state also perform yoga. How do you think, it helps in creating awareness and perhaps motivates people to pick it up themselves?
See, if anyone is doing yoga for a couple of years, first of all, it is not pranayama and asana only. Yoga is a lifestyle. It is discipline. It teaches you many things. When you regularly practice, it just doesn't show on your body or on your mind. The range is so large that you become more intuitive. You're able to see through things. You're able to see through someone's brain. How things are happening. So it really makes you powerful, and you become aware. You become aware that okay, these days you're losing the focus. You need to work on it. So you start exploring your own good things and bad things both. You're connected with yourself. So you are able to gauge what's happening with you. It's not like going back to back, working, sleeping like a machine. No, you become aware about yourself. And don't just limit it to body and mind benefit. Don't just limit it to body and mind workouts. It is much bigger than what we usually consider it. Like for layman people, it is like pranayam and asana. But it's giving you much more than this.
Talking about really the benefits. Well, absolutely, Neha. And how do we ensure that, yoga is taught to everyone, not just at, these mass events? Today is the day when everyone's talking about yoga. I'm sure your Instagram feed, everyone's Instagram, Facebook feed is going to be filled with people who are, bending and stretching and performing every yoga asana which they can find on YouTube. But how do we ensure that it goes beyond tokenism, that it goes beyond lip service, and that it sort of just blends it into everyone's daily lifestyle?
See, one is institutionalizing is very, very important. Like it has to be a part of our curriculum. Like we learn social science languages when we are in school. It has to be a compulsory subject. One. Two, when we go for these corporate jobs or all these things, there has to be some kind of a weekly workshops. So it has to be incorporated everywhere. One. Now, when you took an example of an army, like you took an example of a very extreme situation. We don't even have to go there. Just take a simple example. For example, cricketers. After playing for 10 years, they are physically fit, they are mentally fit, but their zeal drops. And then they seek yoga, which boosts their zeal. So you have no idea how in different sectors it can cater to. So I think there has to be some awareness workshops everywhere. Schools should have yoga as a subject. Anatomy, physiology, knowing about your body parts and knowing about how it functions should be a compulsory subject. Kids are getting into drugs, phone. Now, for example, if they have some kind of awareness about their body, about their functioning, they can at least understand, too much of gadget, what kind of, damage it can do to your body parts. What problem is, no one is aware. Anatomy, physiology is not a subject for everyone. Only people who get into medical science or who get into a yoga therapy, higher studies, gets to know about anatomy and physiology. Anatomy and physiology should be a compulsory subject for every kid. So awareness can start from incorporating, anatomy, physiology as a compulsory subject in schools, so that the base is made. And then we should have workshops, awareness workshops, yoga sessions, like that. You have to incorporate everywhere.
Well, absolutely. It needs a trainer. You just need your yoga mat, at least for basic starting exercises, isn't it?
Definitely. Anyone can start it, and I don't say that if you're doing yoga, you don't go to the gym or something. You do other activities, but don't do anything at the stake of missing your yoga. Yoga has to be there. With yoga, whatever you want to do, you incorporate. Not a problem, but don't miss on to yoga, because nothing can beat and nothing can be as good as when you compare yoga with anything.
Well, absolutely. Yoga cannot be compared with anything. But Neha, another follow-up question for you before I go to Major Shah. Do you not think that in today's time and age, when, you know, the youngsters especially are quite influenced by social media, a lot of our lives are on social media, a lot of, you know, the younger generation, they literally live for the reels, they want to look great. The emphasis is very aesthetic. The emphasis is not really, you know, on your mental or spiritual well-being. Do you think in these time and age, how do we, or how do you think we need to revive and instill you know, the benefits of yoga for our youngsters? How do we make them understand really that yoga is extremely important? It's great and important to look great, but at the same time you need to feel great as well.
Yes, definitely. So youngsters, see, of course, counseling is important. Like you talk about awareness and all that, but more than that, discipline works. Because youngsters, you know, you can't expect them to, you know, show interest. So initially, it is like you have to, you know, initially make an effort that you lead the whole family has to come together and, you know, make a routine and follow discipline. And kids are also a part. You know, you have to pressurize them. How does this work? Initially, that disciplinary steps work, and later on, it will happen on its own. It is called as corticolimbic equilibrium. Cortex is the decision making, and limbic system is the emotional center, the pleasure center. When any human being is born, we normally, 90% of the people have a tendency to be inclined towards pleasure centers, you know, pleasurable activities, sleeping, eating. We are always inclined to that. Cortex tells us right and wrong. Now, when you go for regular yoga sessions, when you go to these yoga retreats, you lead a different lifestyle for 10 days. Slowly, what happens? You start enjoying these. You start enjoying boiled food. You start enjoying, like you have to, you know, initially make an effort that you lead the whole family has to come together and, you know, make a routine and follow discipline. And kids are also a part. You know, you have to pressurize them. How does this work? Initially, that disciplinary steps work, and later on, it will happen on its own. It is called as corticolimbic equilibrium. Cortex is the decision making, and limbic system is the emotional center, the pleasure center. When any human being is born, we normally, 90% of the people have a tendency to be inclined towards pleasure centers, you know, pleasurable activities, sleeping, eating. We are always inclined to that. Cortex tells us right and wrong. Now, when you go for regular yoga sessions, when you go to these yoga retreats, you lead a different lifestyle for 10 days. Slowly, what happens? You start enjoying these. You start enjoying boiled food. You start enjoying not eating out. You start enjoying sleeping in time. You start enjoying getting up early in the morning. So what happened with you? What happened is as corticolimbic equilibrium. When you follow discipline, automatically you weaken your limbic system and you strengthen your cortex. That's how it happens. But initially, you have to put that effort, that discipline. Even if you're not in a mood to get up, you have to follow it. Later on, it becomes a matter of enjoyment.
Well, absolutely. It's something which, of course, one adapts to and one eventually starts enjoying. And as you rightly said, that it's, all right, you know, as you rightly said, that it's not just about your physical well-being or how you look. Eventually, yoga becomes a part of one's life. What is catching up? I mean, yes, we have a long way to go, but I do know friends, and that's something which I personally also indulge in, that, you know,